When talking about ultimate luxury off-road, nothing comes close to a Range Rover. However, where other brands say that sportiness comes at the compromise of luxury, Land Rover says you don't have to, especially with this, the new generation Range Rover Sport. Smarter, lighter, more dynamic, and weirdly also more fuel efficient than the generations before it, the new Range Rover Sport comes in this beautiful look with a rather eye-watering price tag. And so today we're going to take a very quick look at the new Range Rover Sport. My name is AIMAN ABDULLAH and this is Malaysian Motoring. Now, before we get into anything else, we have to first talk about the powertrain. Underneath the bonnet, you will now find a 3-litre straight-six engine, part of the Land Rover Ingenium family of mills, producing 400 PS and 550 Newton-meters of torque. And that is enough to rocket this absolutely massive SUV from rest to 100 kilometers an hour in just 5.7 seconds. However, firepower is not all that matters with this motor, because in addition to it being a straight-six, it is also a mild hybrid, which means that the new Range Rover Sport is more efficient and more environmentally friendly than any Range Rover Sport before it. Now, what's very clear about the new Range Rover Sport is that in its new generation, it has adopted the same sort of reductive design that we've seen from the full-size L460 Range Rover. As a result, all unnecessary lines and creases were removed from this vehicle in order to make it look even more reductive, even more minimalist, and even more svelte. So you have these new slimline LED headlights, which Land Rover is very quick to point out are digital LEDs with millions of pixels in either headlight in order to provide the most precise level of lighting that adapts to the situation. Framing those is this enormous grille, which is, although very wide, still very slim in order to give the Range Rover Sport a particularly menacing face. Now, in Malaysia, it comes as standard with this particular exterior line pack, and so as standard, you get 22-inch alloy wheels done up in this beautiful satin grey. That color is also mirrored in the frame for the grille, as well as the scripting for the Range Rover badge on the front. You also get some black contrasting down on the bumper and a little bit of a lip, as well as a few bronze accents about the place in order to make the car look, again, a little bit more visually interesting. Now, the thing about the Range Rover Sport is, again, this is made for people who like to drive, which is why, as you can see, all the way down the side, you have these very gentle creases in order to emphasize the fact that this is a driver's car. And of course, these wheels, although very large, are wrapped in Pirelli P0 tires, which Land Rover says provides the best blend of on and off-road performance, because obviously that is very important to Land Rover customers. That same minimalist treatment is applied to the rear of the Range Rover Sport, where, as you can see, you have those slimline full LED taillights replete with a sequential indicator function. You get those satin grey badges for the Range Rover badging here, and overall it certainly looks particularly good. Now, noteworthy features here include the real exhaust exits at the bottom, which allow the 3-litre six-cylinder engine to breathe a little bit more freely. But one thing that the Range Rover Sport loses over the full-size Range Rover, in addition to about 1 million ringgit off the price tag, is the split tailgate. That said, this tailgate remains fully powered, and as you can see back here, there is plenty of space for you to put anything that you need, and there's even a little bit more space underneath, which in this vehicle is taken up by the full-size spare wheel, ensuring that any adventures you might have in your Range Rover Sport will not be interrupted by something as slovenly as a flat. Now, because this vehicle comes as standard with adaptive air suspension, it does also mean that you can make this car kneel should you need to be loading items into the vehicle, or should you have a large, older dog that might need to hop in and out. And of course, because this is a luxury car, the rear seats, as you can see, are fully adjustable electronically, which means you can also tumble them electronically as well. Now, with all the seats folded flat, as you can see, there is enough space in here to rival a tanker. But of course, should you want the seats up for 5 passengers, as you can see, there is plenty of room in here for 5 passengers worth of luggage, even for a week's holiday away. Now, inside the new Range Rover Sport, this all looks very familiar in terms of what we've seen from Range Rover in the past. Of course, material quality and so on is absolutely beyond question, as you'd expect for something at this price point. That said, however, it does have a certain flourish to it. There is a certain degree of dynamism and engagement that you can only get in the Range Rover Sport. For example, this interior now feels like it's a little bit closer towards the driver, a bit more cosseting, a bit more cocooning. This is what you'd expect from a vehicle that is designed for people to drive themselves rather than be driven in. However, there has been no compromise in terms of technology. You still get a 13.1-inch multi-award-winning PIVI Pro infotainment system, which controls various functionalities throughout the car, as well as the vehicle's inbuilt connectivity options. And of course, you get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. However, compared to the Range Rover, you now get physical buttons in order to control the HVAC system, which is all very appreciated. And of course, over here, this is where you find your start-stop button, your volume knob, and of course, the all-important gear selector. All of this is shared with the full-size L460 Range Rover. This little knob here, however, is very important. This controls the vehicle's terrain response system. In automatic, the vehicle will be able to figure out what surface it's on and adapt itself in order to provide smooth and effortless progress without much interference from the driver. However, should you wish, you can actually set this car up in various different drive modes to adapt to certain situations. And of course, the Range Rover Sport does come with a sport mode should you want it. And of course, this gear lever controls the 8-speed automatic gearbox supplied by ZF, although of course you can manipulate that further through these metal paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. And it's very clear that sat here, Land Rover has very clearly engineered this car to provide not only a cosseting driving experience, but also a very commanding view over the world around them, as you'd expect from a Range Rover. These seats, of course, are memory adjustable and electrically adjustable rather, with heat and ventilation both in the front as well as the rear. A couple of cup holders here, a huge center armrest, but then again, this is what you'd expect from a vehicle pushing almost 1.7 million ringgit. Now in the rear half of the Range Rover Sport, with this seat set in my driving position, this is still a very palatial place to be. I have acres of knee room and plenty of headroom, despite this large, openable panoramic sunroof. Now sat back here, there are quite a few amenities available to me. I obviously have dual zone climate control, even back here, making this a 4-zone climate system with my own aircon vents. I get a couple of cup holders here. I get a storage bin here, which is nice and felt lined so that anything that I put in here won't rattle about. And of course, I get my own sun blinds. Should, of course, the owner of a Range Rover have small children in the back, they can be protected from the sun, or in all likelihood, the VIP being chauffeured in the back of their Range Rover Sport can be protected from the peasants outside. Now, one of the things that I do appreciate about this car is that the Meridian audio system that comes as standard with the Range Rover Sport has been integrated very seamlessly into the vehicle. So instead of having large speaker grills, which can be perceived as a little bit garish, instead they are all integrated into this lovely fabric along the doors, with only the Meridian logo letting you know that there is something active going on behind this fabric. I have aircon vents up here, I have my own little reading light, and of course a little coat hook, and as far as I'm concerned, life back here is very pleasant. The only thing that's missing is any form of rear entertainment, which at this price does seem a little bit of a strange omission. That said, I do at least still have electric adjustments for the seat, should I so want to recline, or if I'd like to be a little bit more upright. So overall, life here really isn't that bad at all. And now we come to the two final features we have to talk about with the new Range Rover, and that is safety and the price. So in terms of active safety systems, the new Range Rover Sport offers a full level 2 semi-autonomy system, including things like adaptive cruise control with radar guidance and traffic jam assist. That also includes things like blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, a 360-degree camera, autonomous emergency braking, replete with pedestrian and cyclist detection, as well as various other features including safe entry and exit assist. Now all of these things, as I said, come as standard as you'd expect for something that is 1.7 million ringgit. And that brings us on to the price. At 1.7 million ringgit, the new Range Rover Sport is significantly more expensive than what some would consider to be this car's natural rivals, which are things like the Porsche Cayenne, for example. Instead, the Range Rover Sport's positioning in this country means that it is more in line with vehicles like the Lamborghini Urus and so on, which means the 3-litre upfront may not necessarily be enough or adequate for customers who are buying in that segment. But to that end, Jaguar Land Rover Malaysia will offer the Range Rover Sport SV for those customers who need a little bit more firepower, although admittedly it is on indent order. Now let us know what you think about this new Range Rover Sport in the comment section below. Do you think it looks good? Do you think that this is the right powertrain, that 3-litre mild hybrid system up front? Or do you think that this car is slightly overpriced? Let us know in the comment section below. In any case, that's been our preview of the new Range Rover Sport. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon to be notified every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All the links are in the description below. And if you'd like to join our WhatsApp channel, the link to that is also in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.